All right, YouTube. We are live. Probably have been for a while. You see it right there. Code Edge. 25% off your first package. All right, YouTube. Having trouble making sure my system's all fired up. All right. We've been live since August 1st. Had to have a couple days off with streaming, but we're going to stream today and hopefully back to it every day here. Code Edge, you get 25% off our first package. So for an entire year, for $90 for what we offer, I can't say enough about the value. You know, this is for what we offer compared to any other site out there. You're simply getting second to none value.
Player and team props hit the books. Edgeboard runs every single one through advanced simulations built on years of historical data and services the few with the real statistical edge. Tap any prop to unlock the deep matchup data behind it. We cover every major sports league with more being added all the time. Want a parlay? Choose your book, your legs, your leagues, and how aggressive you want it. Edgeboard auto builds the strongest ticket for you. Try it free for 7 days. After that, just $9.99 a month. Edgeboard, find your edge.
Let's look at last night. Graded slate. We had the top game of the day was on our what we considered favorable matchups, Arizona versus San Diego, and our pick of that went 19 and 13 for a 57% return on investment. That's based on average bet of $10 and what you would have done had you placed all 32 props that game, what your estimated props would have been. We also had very well picked of the WNBA slate, Golden State versus Toronto. You know, looking at some things here that look like they're continuing, you know, some positive trended data history. Last night, RBIs was very successful. When you look at what we do here, this is the only site you're going to find in the betting realms that actually grade their bets, talk about it, talk about where we're seeing some things. And to be honest, we're not, what alarms me a little bit is I really look at this from more of a 7-day and a 30-day trend. Where's money to be made? So the HRR spot, I mentioned to folks this a lot. It's one of the most overbet spots in baseball. And so sometimes looking at the HRR unders is where it's at. We're showing that it had a nice return on investment, has continued to remain positive ROI over 7 days, and at least putting you even with Vegas over 30 days. You know, not a ton of great 30-day standouts that I'm seeing right now. The big one, I would guess, is that for the last week, home runs have been profitable. Home runs as a whole, the third category there, you know, again, you have to remember to be profitable in home runs, it's all about, you know, that clearly, for example, last night it went 4 and 18 and 4 and 18 made money at 35% return on investment. So it's had good positive returns here of late. I think that's definitely something you have to trend with weather and ballpark. And then again, we show where some things are giving you some added value. So recent form trend. This was me showing you the other day where we talk about the streak watch and the WNBA slate. I haven't streamed since that WNBA slate. Interestingly enough, went 2 for 2 on that, where I showed exactly using that tool. This morning, I want to really just focus on something here that, and so we're going to get right to it. We're going to talk MLB, and Wednesday and Thursday in Major League Baseball are my by far two favorite days to bet. And the reason I like that is, again, betting and being a consistent winning bettor. Anyone who tells you, you know, you get on these channels, and one thing you're not going to see here, I can promise you that, is the fluff. You know, the ones that are like, it's your boy. If you hear any YouTube stream that starts with your boy, then instantly get the fuck off that stream. That's all I'm saying. When they start out with that overhyped bullshit, you know, even the leading streamer in our industry. Again, I hate to pick on Stochastic. I had some things I was going to pick on him from yesterday. His first lock, he hasn't offered a lock he talks about every day on Stochastic using their way overpriced software. And people were getting on him. Give us a lock, buddy. You always do these leans, locks, whatever, but you never give us a lock. So he finally says, I'm giving you my first rock solid lock on strikeouts, and it doesn't hit. So again, it's not easy betting. It wasn't a bad pick either. Look, I'm fair to that guy. If you watch me, Stochastic has two of the leading guys in the industry, and Greg and Eric. And Eric, he knows his stuff. But again, he tends to only try to get you to focus on all positives and not realistic that betting is hard. And he had an entire losing July. He lost the entire month of July. And I've watched him so far in August, and he's sugarcoating that at best he might be break even in August, maybe even slightly down. So, Vegas knows what we know. They adjust for what we adjust. So what's the point of all that? I'm going to skip over this. I really want to get focused, not make this too long of a stream. Wednesdays and Thursdays, what I love about this, and actually both of these days are my most successful days, is it's divided into two slates. You have an afternoon slate and an evening slate. So we're going to focus on just 4 games today on this morning stream. And then hopefully, if my day goes right, I might try to pop back in and do one prior to our evening games. That is my goal for today. So what games are early games? We have, we're just going to go by them one by one. There's 4 of them. So right off the bat, I want to focus what we're going to do here today. We're going to split this down. Well, you know what? Actually, I'm not going to do this because when I go to our team matchups, I've noticed when I change up odds, it kind of glitches out what our team matchups think I should be looking at. So we will talk about the 4 games that I want to kind of focus on. And interesting enough, 2 of the games right off the bat are at the top. So Houston versus Toronto. I absolutely love Houston this game. Now, so does Vegas, right? It's already priced at -185. Hunter Brown, his last 2 games have been excellent. Jameson Taillon has had a miserable year. I think us focusing on some player props against Jameson Taillon, and I absolutely like Houston here. Folks, when I log into this, by the way, to be absolutely clear, I have a real full-time job. I worked very late last night. I don't log into this. I do a quick analysis of the slate. I look at weather. I look at what I think I see with pitching matchups, and then I hop on here. So I'm looking at this with you first time I hop on. We're literally on together discovering what the software is showing us. So right off the bat, Houston over Toronto, I love. Now, I don't like, it's me seeing the odds the first time we say, look, like, yeah, they're going to beat them, but you're really not getting good odds. That's what the EV is showing us there. The next game, I think, is very interesting. LA has lost. They just got swept. They lost yesterday. That was hilarious, right? They get Scoobled. They lose in Chicago. Today, we got wind out in Chicago, day game with Shota versus Lauer. Now, Lauer has been getting beat up lately. Shota has been in prime form lately. Shota's also a lefty. And LA's lineup is really a bit struggling right now. And also, they're not as good against lefties. They have good lefty at bats, but they don't. So against lefties, that's a better matchup for what I think, which is I think Chicago beats LA. Now, I have to admit, again, here, I was hoping we were very close to even money because people always overbet the Dodgers. We are still showing EV here. I absolutely love this bet. Second like right there. Third game is Texas versus, let's just find it. Texas versus Frisco. Another one, like absolutely Texas. We think Texas. The line I don't like. I think we look at some Texas props versus Wish and Hunt. This kid has not been good. Bradford is coming off of the IL. He is a good pitcher. He's going to be limited. This is going to be a bullpen game. So Texas for sure. And then here we are again. So a lot of kind of high, anytime you're in the high 50s, that's a pretty big lean towards this. Not showing EV here, but Tampa Bay over Colorado. And I will say on this game, this is probably the most even matchup in that better pitcher in Nick Martinez, but he has been giving up power. Sagano is absolutely someone we can target. So these are 4 games. Our website supports exactly what I think, with all being 58.5% or higher. And I also said of the 4 games, the one that I would probably not maybe bet the money line the closest was Tampa Bay, and there it is, 4. So, hey, pat on my back and pat on our software's back. I guess we're on the same thing. Now, run line, how big of an ass line could it be, or ass whooping could it be? If we're looking at our teams that we just discussed, the early 4 games, who could actually be an ass whooping? Well, we're not seeing necessarily any of them scream this yet. They think if you give San Francisco the run, that it could be close. If you give the Dodgers the run, it could be close. If you give Colorado the run, it could be close. The only one that it truly thinks is, hey, you're going to get your ass whipped no matter what. And I don't dislike this, is Houston could give the run, and we still think you're pretty damn close to 50-50, and you are finally getting plus money. So that could be an interesting play if you want to get plus money. I do think that one, in my opinion, I think I am leaning that Houston probably takes it to Toronto. Toronto, did, just to be clear, they did just kind of give up a lot of their team, not a lot, but they're just kind of like in give it up mode, if that makes sense. Now, where do we think runs are going to be scored? Again, over 8. So what does this tell you? Because when I want to bet a run line, I want to see that our software thinks that we're going to go above the run line. So over 8 helps me to think, yeah, we think more runs are going to be scored, even though that is a low over under. So if you're going to bet a run line, I usually want to see at least be an over also. That's kind of my theory. Then we're talking about, again, the runs here. We think over. Wind is out in Chicago, over 9.5. Again, what was our other games we're focusing on? Over 11.5 at 52.5% still. So why am I pointing out that I love this morning slate is I think there's runs to be scored. This one, I will admit Texas ballpark sucks. And so we think this could be an under. That one, again, I think we're really just looking at Texas to win the game is probably my biggest lean. And then is there some Texas good bats we can see against their pitching? So there right off the bat would be my recommended plays. I think that you can make money just looking at the teams as a whole and how you would bet that. If you want to look at some same game parlays, I think there's, combining some of those money lines that maybe aren't positive EV, but we think pretty strongly win. I think combining that with maybe a parlay play is a strategy I like to do, where I might pick a theme and go with it. So there's that. And if I can stay on point enough, I do want to point out one other game in the night. There's one game at night that I think I'm going to bet early, and because I feel pretty strongly again about the storyline there. And that's going to be the suckage of the Los Angeles Angels versus the Baltimore Orioles, a battle of attrition game in the evening spot. So this is kind of how I look at baseball. I like playing bets that are very close to even to plus money. I don't like playing a lot of large minus bets, except for when I think it's related to team matchups. And I'm not going to bore you into too many details there. Why? This is just how you can use the software. This software, by the way, just to be clear, our software is the most adaptable to your betting style you're going to see in the industry. You can literally adjust this to any type of matchups, overs, unders, odds, books. I mean, it literally gives you if you want to filter, this has it. Now, I will say the negative, here's what I'm seeing so far, and I'm getting some feedback from folks, is the negative is folks get in here and they get a little overwhelmed. And so what I probably should be doing here, and I'll probably try to focus on this in maybe the next stream, is just how to use this from a very beginner standpoint, because the whole point of all this is for the most beginning bettors out there to just take our best plays and know that we've done a lot of research to do it for you. To be honest, that's really this is designed for beginners, but they're logging in and they're seeing a lot of this at the top of the page, and their eyes, and they get nervous saying, well, I don't think I feel comfortable. I'm not advanced enough. So this slate can be used from beginner level and what we need to do is we need to do a better job to just show you as a beginning bettor how to take advantage of the site. Admittedly, when I walk through this, I'm trying to just show you how intensive the tools are. So, all right, I should have been doing this while I was getting there. So we're going to literally just go game by game. We're going to look at this Houston-Toronto game. So to be clear, this is in Houston. It is in a dome. The over-under is only 8. So I do think that trying to, Vegas knows what the hell they're doing. So trying to go out of your way to predict a ton of offense, I don't think so. But what we've already learned right now, we think Houston's going to win. We think that they could win the run line, and it's still an over. So us focusing purely on Houston offense is not a bad play. So let's just look at what we're thinking here. First of all, we have seen this time and time again, where the pitcher walks Jordan Alvarez. If they can get past Pena, the opening, their leadoff batter, then pitchers love to pitch around Jordan Alvarez. The guy is literally walking, hello. No clue what I just did. No clue what I just did here. No clue what I just did here. Hit the side. All right, there we go. Not only is he getting a walk, in the last 5 games, he's had 2 walks. So we look at that as a positive EV play right there. And it also tells you have to remember when you're thinking about this, like at the end of the day, right, that's taken away some of his offense. So admittedly, Jordan Alvarez, who is a stud, and let's see how he faces this kid, right? So against this batter, look at these stats, right? He's been walked twice. He's hit a home run against him in 14 at bats, batting .333. I mean, this just screams no brainer to at least get some bets on him. The problem is Vegas already knows this. He hasn't been hitting a ton of home runs lately, and yet it looks like the line isn't that good. So sometimes the negative of this is that we're stuck with what is less than favorable odds, even though we love the bet. Now, we do show this within a range. I'm hoping that I can maybe get his total bases at close to even money. We have not hit this the last 2 games. I absolutely do love this, though, this game. I think for Jordan, I really do think the walk play, the bases play, and the home run play are all plays that I am for. The Trammell play, I think, is a little bit more interesting. I don't bet Trammell often. I don't know a whole lot about him. I mean, his average against righties as a whole is not great. His average in August has not been great. So even though we like this, he is only batting 186 in the year on a 4-seam fastball. So I think that's a pass. I think that what you could find is that Trammell is the kind of guy who could get, does he get a full game slate in? I don't think so. So we're going to hit over here to Jordan. I want to see what truly is out there in the books. So the good news is, again, one of the things I consistently show here is we are conservative on our odds. We're not always fully accurate on the odds. We tend to be a little low. So the good news is we've got, we actually do have a plus 280 for this. And that is plus 275 tends to be what I've told you folks is my min that I like to see. Now, I'm not going to overbet this. I'm not going to make a ton of money on this. Home runs, he's only hit 1 in 10 games, folks. So let's be honest. Like, while Jordan Alvarez is a good batter, it's not like these things scream that every game it's a no-brainer. Now, there are some sites I do not like, but I keep them in my betting profile because they do sometimes have outlier odds, and that being Fanatics and the score.bet. Fanatics is one of the fastest to change their odds the minute I hop on the site. So it went from plus 115 to plus 100. And my rule of thumb is if all else fails, fuck them. At plus 115, I would have used them, but I do show FanDuel at minus 105. To me, that's close enough to break even on these bases. This is the 1.5 bases. So we're going to go ahead and put a 3/4 unit play on that, where we think our best place to make money is on that. And then we're going to look at this walk just to see if it is within a reasonable range. It does look like it's moved a lot. So this is again saying Fanatics is still at minus 125. So this line has moved since. It still is at plus minus 125. So this is the only site. This is where you use the score and you use this site. I think they're both miserable sites. They don't have good injury policies. But what I can say is that they do tend to have odds that are out of line on certain bets. And here's a perfect example. So we just got him at minus 125 for a walk on Fanatics, where the next closest was minus 150 on DraftKings. So that what we did was 3 small plays. We didn't go crazy. And why we didn't go crazy is that those aren't great EV odds. You know, you're getting shit odds on all 3. What I do want to do is I just want to research a couple other guys here real quick. Pena at home has been unbelievably hot. Now, this is a righty on righty matchup. He has 1.5 hits, runs, RBIs. I can't say enough about that. He's been unbelievably strong at home. Look at him against Tyon here again. 4 hits at 8 at bats, batting .500. Hits his pitches unbelievably well. This is a pitcher to go after, period. Absolutely love seeing that Pena knows this guy. Houston, and looking at this as a morning matchup, I love. And for Pena, I mean, honestly, he has been pretty friggin' hot. He's hit 3 home runs in the last 3 games, or in the last 10. So what we want to do here is we just want to, again, we are focusing on clocking this guy. I really hate 2.5 RBIs. I get it. It's plus money. This could be a ladder play if you like really sticking with positive EV. So again, we are not as good with home runs and true odds, but he is getting plus 630. Plus 630 for a kid who's hot at home. The home field at Toronto, at Houston, much more favorable to right-hand bats. I mean, I'll be honest with you, I absolutely love this bet at plus 630 from an EV standpoint. We were giving it at even EV at plus 360, and the odds. And this is one thing. I urge you guys, become a member of the Edgeboard. We've already done the math, and if we can grow our subscription base by literally only about 100 to 200 people, we're going to be able to grab some other data sources that are going to make the site even better, where we're going to give you better odds. So plus 630 obviously is way better than what we thought there. And then what I want to focus on is that 1.5 RBIs as a leadoff batter. I mean, this is crappy odds, but it's still plus EV. And what we're trying to do is we just want to see how can we make some money. Now, in this instance, minus 155 is what I show as latest odds on BetMGM. So, what could you look to do to offset possible losses on high variance home runs? That's how I look at how I bet. The hits, runs, RBIs as a leadoff batter. I'm not big on RBIs as a leadoff batter. Him scoring runs. Pitchers are now starting to walk him. Could Tyon walk this kid at plus 253? That's pretty damn good. I don't think I want to really, I'm not a big walk guy. You're only going to see me do walks when I see something just stupid. It's gotten stupid with Yordan Alvarez. Why is Yordan Alvarez not hitting as many home runs? It's not that all of a sudden he doesn't know how to hit home runs. He's not getting as many quality at bats. These pitchers are literally saying, if we can get Pena out, this is literally what you're going to see happen. If we get Pena out, if we can ever face Yordan Alvarez with the bases empty, if there's not traffic, we are going to throw him 4 shitty pitches. And if he swings and strikes out, so be it. But hopefully he does. And if not, we'll just walk him. So that's, I want to just give you an idea what's going on. So him just to score a run, I absolutely love this bet. I mean, so where is your protection bets? Your protection bets to me as a leadoff batter is a run or an HRR. By the way, and this is the other thing. That's why I hate I hate when power batters bat second. I don't get that. Give them third or fourth, in my opinion. Having them second is dumb. The biggest, I'll tell you what, if I would have streamed yesterday, I had a take. And my take was that the Philadelphia Phillies made Phillies made the best move, in my opinion, in this round. There, people go on about Scooball. There's a couple others, but picking up Luis Arias from the Giants, this guy bats for incredible average, gets on base. So I go, this is going to solve a lot of Phillies problems, because one of the dumbest fucking things the Phillies do, literally dumbest fucking thing in my opinion, is lead off with Kyle Schwarber. The guy is such a, strikeout or a walk, it's odd. You're like, pitchers are like, I don't want to give Schwarber, I don't want to get Schwarbombed. So it's, again, they're going to pitch around him. So he chases a lot now. And it literally is this strikeout walk scenario a lot. And to be honest, a lot of times it's strikeout. So now switch your lineup, lead off with Arias and stick Schwarber, like perfect lineup. Arias, Turner, Harper, Schwarber, Marsh. Like I fuck the first of all, fuck Philadelphia fans as a whole. Fuck you people. All right. I hope you subscribe, but you guys as fans, you piss me off. I'm sorry. Booing the entire All-Star break was kind of funny of the home run. It is funny to an extent, but let's be honest, you're miserable people. But then they yesterday. So I will fully admit, I put some money on Schwarber RBIs yesterday. Like, this is going to work out so nicely. And then I did it pre-lineup. Dumb me. I don't know why I did that. And they still let off with Schwarber. So who gets the RBIs? Arias. Batting fourth. What? All right. Runs, HR. Done with my soapbox. I love both these. I mean, I think that you're fine to go either angle. I mean, honestly, now that I look at it, if you're telling me that you're giving me minus 155 on an HR, but that on runs, I'm getting actually better odds than the HR, which is kind of interesting. I would tend to say that I'm going to go with the run. If I were to pick one, if you just wanted to pick one protection bet for Pena, I think that him to score a run is great. Again, last couple games, they haven't been as great, but he's still showing 70%. So I put a little protection in, some nuggets here for Pena to runs, HR, home run, love all of it. And then I just wanted to look at one last one that was pointed out. I admit I look at other guys' sites. So maybe this is a take on looking at Eric. So Eric from Stochastic, I watched him in the morning. His play of the day was to look at Paredes as a home run. So I will a lot of times look at what he's saying, hear what the odds are. Again, we're negative on our odds. What is this guy doing? I mean, what is he doing? He's not doing a lot. It is righty on righty. I'm kind of curious why he liked this. I mean, he does have decent average against Tyon. I can tell you folks, they really look at what he says very specifically is price over probability. And so many times I look at this and it's like the most negative matchup we've ever shown. I'll at least give this one credit that this one is relatively like if he's a power batter, maybe. I probably should have looked at this one a little bit harder. We're predicting he bats third, which was, I didn't know that where he was batting. I probably would have also looked at, oh gosh, why is this doing this? Sorry, folks. I wanted to just look at this. So yeah, we do predict him to bat third. His season average is 249. So there's a couple other sources out there saying this. I mean, him and Walker both can't bat for average to save their life. But do we look at a home run for one of these guys? It really comes down to, for them, you are going to have traffic on the bases. So here's your third and fourth batters. You know, who's a little bit of a better batter? I would say Walker, but he doesn't hit as well. So 170 against the fastball, a 210 weighted average. So look, I'll at least give Eric credit for this. There's times that I see this and he does it backwards. I guess between the two, we are thinking that, you know, if you're going to see some more action, that we're going to see it from Isaac Paredes over Christian Walker. So that's my play. My play is we're going to go with Houston. We might go with the Houston money line. I don't want to bet the over. I don't really see a ton of value in the over when I don't see two teams. I would say if you want to look at how many runs we predict Houston to score, I like that. I think what I want to do is I want to see what our odds are showing versus the lines that are true. So again, this is where now I'm much more in love with this. We're giving, again, Isaac Paredes plus 600 to hit a home run. So Pena, Alvarez, Paredes, top three in the order projected, probably comes through. I think that's probably going to be correct. And we want any one of those guys to hit a home run and we make money. And if it's Paredes or Pena, we make good money. Plus 600 for either of them. We cover the bet as long as one person can just do it. And then what are your backup bets for this? I mean, I'll be honest, like batting third, that's where I kind of like the RBI when you're behind these two guys. He's not a total basis guy. This is not your hit for average guy, even though it's plus money. He's just not a hit for average guy. I mean, he's not really a hits runs RBI guy. And I'm showing that at even money. I mean, this guy is just, it's kind of like a home run or bust play. If you really wanted to do anything, I think that this isn't one I necessarily think you're betting a backup bet to make much. I think you're risking. So if anything, I want to go with the fact I'm showing the RBI at plus 181. You know, again, last night, I'm not going to act like I had a ton of success last night. I've actually had 5 good days in a row, and it was my first day where I lost about 3 units last night on some plays. For example, betting Kyle Schwarber to hit fourth and get RBIs. That would have been his fucking RBIs, but we're still going to lead off Schwarber. Anyway, Suzuki was one. They gave interest. It was crazy. The overhype of Scooball last night that they had Seiya Suzuki. If I would have went live, there's one bet I would have pointed out. I was so shocked at this. And then shame on me for not betting it bigger, because I'm sitting there going, okay, I guess Scooball's God. I mean, Scooble must be God, because the overhype of Scooble last night, and granted, it's not like he got blown up by Chicago, but anyway, and I don't even know if Suzuki got the RBI against him. I don't think he did. But they had Seiya Suzuki at plus 220 for an RBI last night. Okay. You're going to give me home run odds on an RBI? All right, I'll take that. So that was one of my better plays. They have this one at plus 181. As I did this, I bet it. Some of the lines moved down. So there's our first play of the day. And again, my point of all this is we're going to look at these 4 games, and then let's sit back and see how these 4 games go. And then afterwards, you can readjust based on how your day's gone. And then again, it's kind of down to your betting style. Do you readjust then and say, hey, I made money betting today, so I'm probably good. You know, I'm good. Or maybe you're the kind of guy that's like, I want to get wilder. I'm going to go just more, let's loosen it up. I've got some money to risk. I'm up. Maybe now I play a couple other big home run plays. That's going to be up to you. What I'm pointing out is simply what I see and where we're at. So now the next game, again, I like Chicago this game. I think that if we're talking about what is matching up well, I think that overall, I think Chicago matches up better against Eric Lauer, who's hittable. I think what we want to do is look at elite right-hand matchups versus Eric Lauer. And speak of the devil, it's our guy, Seiya Suzuki. So batting .319 against lefties in general doesn't necessarily match up perfectly with Eric Lauer. We think the pitch mix is down to 265. So I have to admit, I didn't know where this stood. And now that I look at it, with 11 at bats, he's only batting .222. No home runs. Wind is out in Wrigley. I have to, full disclosure, Seiya Suzuki was at the top of my thought process walking in as to who would I focus on? Who do I think makes sense? And I really thought it would be Seiya Suzuki. Now, we still think from an elite matchup and from a favorable matchup with money that looks like it's headed your way, that we really do think the only at bat that really screams out to us is Seiya Suzuki. So, I mean, am I in love with this now? Maybe not. I mean, I don't really know what to say. Minus 137 is a good HRR. We give that a 58.5% chance. Again, wind blowing out. I really wanted to look at some of these right-handed bats against Lauer. So this one, I guess at the end of the day, right, you really want to use the software and understand what it's telling you. And it's saying that maybe Seiya Suzuki is the only play. And even there, it's not a play that I would suggest going hardcore on. I thought Bregman might be one to look at. And, a lot of yellow for Bregman. We anticipate him batting third. He does hit the fastball a little better. Eric Lauer is a hittable pitcher, in my opinion. I don't think he screams, all day long. What we look at sometimes is recent form. And what has he done recently? Well, again, only hit 1 home run in 10. He has hit a couple doubles. I don't think, he's hitting 60% over bases. Eric Lauer, to me, I think the Dodgers are struggling, including Eric Lauer. So I'm not going to hate you for betting this. I'm not going to hate you for betting this, to be honest. Now, Bregman's batting .244 for the year. Suzuki .280 as a full picture. Like, I guess we tend to still lean towards Suzuki here. Now, the last ones you could look at, Carson Kelly. Let's look at Carson Kelly. We have him possibly batting fourth. Another source has him possibly batting fourth. 322 against lefties, doesn't hit the fastball great, doesn't have a ton of great success against Lauer again. So it is kind of interesting, right? That this is kind of I was really leaning that Chicago's going to take it to the Dodgers here again, that Dodgers are going to lose once again. I still think they could. Carson Kelly did hit a home run last game. He's in a great spot batting cleanup. I think that this is the thing. When you look at these types of matchups, what am I really trying to get you to look at is it's already hard to make money. So if you see these guys and it doesn't scream off the charts that their probability to make good barrel contact is screaming, it's hard enough in these streets to make money. So that's what I want you to really look at. Now, this one is interesting. Nico Horner does get buried a little bit more. Could they move him up? Maybe. It's kind of interesting that we're going through this, that maybe this is our outlier. The thing about Nico Horner that's interesting is there was a while where I saw him getting not full at bats. And in this instance, lately, he has been getting full at bats. You know, he was kind of your utility guy, but of late, 4-3, 4-4, 3-5-1. I mean, the chance of Nico Horner getting subbed out is possible. Batting where he's batting, this is where you could see that they switch from the lefty to the righty and maybe pull him out. But 30% home runs, 297 against lefties, 273 green against the four-seam fastball. Has hit a home run against Eric Lauer, still only batting 200. So, damn it, what in the heck? Stop hitting that button. My thumb's hitting something here. You know, this is, again, folks, the most wind-affected park in Major League Baseball is Chicago. We got some decent Cub righty bats. You're leading off with Pete Crow Armstrong. I don't know how he faces with lefties. Lefty on lefty, 280, doesn't face Lauer very well. I'm probably avoiding Pete Crow Armstrong, even though we are showing some good EV, but it makes me feel better about, I think this is what I could say I would predict when I look at this game. I think you look at volatility and variance. So I have seen Cubs batters, especially these right-hand batters we're talking about. There are games where these guys seem to, not Suzuki again, and this is why Suzuki's still your best bet. Suzuki tends to not strike out as much. These other players I've seen, you could see all these guys piss you off striking out once or twice. Like that is absolutely on the board. So this is kind of a risk tolerance game. I still would say that Suzuki is the one that kind of, to me, feels the best as far as my chances of getting some money back. So I look at Suzuki, I look at what are the plays you want to focus on with wind out. I think that you are looking to make the home run play. I think you're looking to back it up with something that's going to make money. And so is it an RBI? I think so. Is it 1.5? I don't think we push this to the 2.5s, especially because of his history, but we are showing plus EV for the 1.5 bases. We are showing our 1.5 HRR. We're showing positive EV on very close at 2.5 bases. Whereas a 1.5 will pop up here in a second. I am showing plus money on 1.5 bases at plus 115. So we put a little nugget on that to back it up. I think we put a nugget on the bases. And I think we put a nugget on the plus 157 for the RBI. Why is 1.5 bases not popping up? Come on, software. This is what I've talked to my partners here and our devs about, it wanting to refresh odds, because we're still not showing necessarily better odds. It's just refreshing it. but then it's taking the system longer to generate alt stats. The 1.5 basis was plus money at plus 115. I can promise you that that's going to show positive EV in my prediction. RBI, I show plus 157. We liked it at plus money at plus 130. So we're going to bet the RBI, the 1.5 bases, and the home run. Let's see what we can get for him for a home run. I really don't love 329. I'll be honest. I don't love it. It's fair. I am also good with you passing on that bet. Now, what I do want to look at again is this is a high variance play. These are guys who don't hit for average. I'd love it. Boy, wouldn't this be great if Nico Horner gets pushed up the lineup when it clearly shows that he might actually be the best hitter against Lauer. So he is definitely a four-seam fastball hitter. He's hit a home run against Lauer in the past. Is this really this high for Nico Horner? If it is, I tend to say that this is your next best play from a positive EV standpoint of what we think is going to happen. And this is crazy. Holy shit. So this is where our software, and now why is this like, again, this is a guy who could only get 3 at bats. Okay. I want to be clear about that. This is a guy who's batting 258 for the year. This is a guy who could get pulled early, could strike out, and could be a total bust. His home run play is plus 940. Okay. Is the wind shifted? I hope this is not like this is still correct. Where did we show the weather on this one? Where's my little weather thing? Oh, there it is. Yeah, 7 mile per hour out. All right. It's not a huge wind today. I guess I should be clear about that. It is a little cooler. What can I say about Nico Horner? First of all, this might be the first time I'm betting him all year. I think if I wanted to look at what is a good backup play, do I want to bet him minus 120 HR? No. Again, why bet negative money? He has done it 60% of the time. I will say Nico's recent form definitely tells me that he seems to be in better form of late. I think the only other thing I look to do is, again, it's 9.5. We lean to the over. I think there's runs that are going to be scored here. I mean, we're getting plus 213 for an RBI. So yeah, sign me up for that. Sign me up for plus 213, which was crazy last night, though. Again, plus 220 for an RBI. So RBI home run. Do I think I want Nico walking? No. Do I want minus money? No. Would I want plus money on total bases at plus 130, which is probably pretty accurate? I show it at plus 138. I mean, I don't want to overbet Nico Horner. I've already put more odds on him than I want. But goddamn, plus 938. Let's go, Nico. Let's go at 938 for a guy who's hit 3 home runs in the last 10 games in Chicago with wind out against Eric Lauer. Okay. Okay. Sure. Bregman, I think I would, now that I've looked at this might be the regret I'm going to pass play. But I just want to make sure again that these home runs aren't like way off. Not in great form, not great history. I mean, does hit the fastball decently well, but if you're telling me that I'm not getting over plus 500, okay, plus 515, Jesus Christ. All right, fuck it. We're just going to have some fun today. We're going to play some early games. We don't need, again, we only need one of these home runs to hit. Plus 515, sign me up. Okay. Man, damn it. Do I? All right. We're going to go a little ham this morning. We're going high offense. We're going with the Chicago Cubs. To tell you that they weren't showing motivation to beat to beat LA, it was palpable. You could tell they were pumped watching the game. And this is coming from me who says fuck the Cubs. Now, I'm not going to overbet this guy. So he's actually been hitting a ton of doubles, which is probably why he's not been, maybe that's not as bad, but we're hoping today the wind changes that. Wind was not out yesterday, I don't think. Was it? Maybe it was the same wind. It was. I think what I'm going to only look to do here is we're going to cover the home run and just try to break even by saying I'm putting down a nugget on total bases. So the hope there is maybe he doesn't hit the home run, but the bases at least cover me. So then we're going to move down here to Carson Kelly. And again, not in love. Batting 260 between him and Bregman. I hate when you got batters. It's not awful. Batting cleanup. The only plus EV play we show is him to get a walk. No, I'm not looking for him to walk. I'm not looking to bet minus money on him for an HRR, even though his recent form tells me it's probably not bad. We give this 53% chance to hit. I mean, again, let's just check the odds. Let's just see where we're going. I really got to pass on somebody here. Is Carson Kelly really going to be the guy who bats cleanup this game? Is that really what happens? Not hitting doubles. Did hit a home run. Not great against the four-seam fastball. Not great against Eric Lauer. Maybe this is the guy I can finally be like, I'm going to pass, and then this is going to be the guy that hits the home run. So plus 475 is the best bet. I can't overbet this game. So Carson Kelly's the guy I'm going to be rooting against. I'm not going to overbet it. We are going again. I think that I'm going to do more research after I get off the stream here. I want to just confirm that I think what I think. But look, let's just do this real quick. We're clearing out Carson Kelly. Here's why, again, I think I like this. I'm just going back to any batter in this game. Do you have a favorable matchup? And what do we not see? What do we not see, people? We don't see a single Dodgers batter as a favorable matchup. What do we also see? We think that Eric Lauer is going to walk some guys to help gain traffic on the bases. The only favorable batter we have is that Ben might strike out twice against Shota. And is Ben even playing this game? I mean, so do you see where I'm going with this? This is how you're using software. You're using the Edgeboard to give you the strategy on, does it support the money line? And in my opinion, it supports that the Cubs should be favored here to win. And the line is minus 117, I think is a reasonable line. Am I going to go crazy on this? No. But this again tells me, and the only reason I didn't bet the other game live with Houston is I'm still between how ham I'm going to go on that game. And let's just go back to why, again, Houston, we think is not only good to be the first game. Why did we not only think Houston's good? We saw that there was several positive batters. Let's go to Toronto that game. And again, we're on favorable matchups. Who's a Toronto favorable matchup? Two guys to strike out. See where I'm going with that, folks? I think that tells you some things. All right, so I'm taking too long again. Let's get down to this third game. Our third game is Texas versus Carson Wish and Hunt. Again, on this one, what are we really looking at? We're looking at Texas batters against him, and we're looking at the money line. And do we think anything screams off that one? Now, this park I don't like. I've already kind of overbet. I've kind of overbet the Cubs game. So I think unless something screams off the board here, I'm not all that interested. Let's look at our favorable matchups here. With positive EV, Frisco to strike out. We're not showing really any positive EV plays for either side. Elite matchups, nothing. Strikeouts, I'm not betting stolen bases. Nemo to hit Wissenhunt. Lefty, lefty. Not a lot of history. I don't know if I'm too interested in that ballpark betting that. Nemo stands out a little bit. I just don't love lefty, lefty. Justin Foscue to hit him. Righty, lefty. I don't love offense as a whole this game. It's an 8.5 run line. I mean, what I'm seeing here supports what I just told you guys. Like, it looks like the one guy who's who's standing out here is Brandon Nemo to go hit this kid pretty well. You know, I don't necessarily know a ton on Nemo because I feel like Texas as a whole, first of all, they play half their games in Texas. I hate the ballpark. I actually just avoid this ballpark a lot of times. In one of our projected lineups, we have him batting second. I think we have him projected batting cleanup. I would say if Wissenhunt was a righty, because some of the batters I like for Texas, when I kind of look at this, I like Jock Peterson, Nemo, Corey Seager, and they're all lefties. Jake Berger, the righty, is batting 237. I mean, this lineup as a whole just doesn't bat for average. I just ripped some of the Cubs for what they bat, and that literally the best batter I'm seeing could be Nemo to hit this kid. He is batting lefty, lefty, 333. We don't have a lot of history against this guy. He does give up a lot. So where are we at this game? I think that maybe we bet Brandon Nemo. I wish the lineups would get announced. I'm sure they haven't yet. I'm sure that they haven't yet. Yeah. So again, what I would say on this game is let's look at this. Let's look at Nemo as our one prop to bet. I think it's a little bit of a risky prop based on where is he going to bat. It's not a great park. I'm not really too huge betting a guy on a home run who's hit 1 out of the last 10. I think that this is much more of a sprinkle. I think what you really got to do is you got to look at that. Maybe I am just going to pass. If you're going to not give me plus money on this 1.5, then I'm probably going to pass. And the thing is, if he's batting second, do I love the RBI? I mean, we're giving him plus money on 2.5 HRR. Let's see what happens if this will generate at 1.5. Yeah, I mean, if I'm not seeing better payouts, all right, we are seeing better payouts. So again, this is why you got to look this up. It's probably our biggest thing right now on the site. I'd like to see us improve on. It's not minus 103 for 1.5, and BetMGM has a huge outlier. They're way overpriced on him. Total bases at plus 150. Snag that, folks. That's great EV right there. Snag that plus 150. We don't know if he's batting second or if he's batting fourth. or third. He's going to be 2, 3, or 4. I like 1.5 bases at plus 150. And that is a big outlier, by the way. The next closest is plus 125. And just to give you an idea, when you talk about your major players, this is how much variance there is. This is interesting. Here's our variance on Brandon Nimmo between the lines, plus 150, then down to plus 125 on the score, down to plus 119 on DK, down to plus 105 on FanDuel. Yeah, I'll take that plus 150. And then the HRR, I think, is another good play because they show that at even money. Basically, minus 110 is even money. And that's also an outlier on BetMGM. I'm not going crazy on either play. I'd say that the plus money play makes me feel a lot better. I'm using this HRR to balance it out because you never know if he just gets the one hit. Let's say Nimmo gets one single, then hopefully he scores a run or he drives somebody in. So this is where if you give me HRRs, I better be at minus 120 or better, period. And really 110 is kind of my line in the sand. So I like that. I think we go with that. I don't think we bet anything else. I think what we do is we look at, again, do we like Texas overall as a play? Absolutely. If anything, we're going to clear out of this. We're going to go back to the team matchups. I just want to get a reminder on this. What do we think this game on totals? Yeah, I mean, this is one where it's like minus 163. I'm not in love with. And it looks like that's a minus 166. San Francisco's offense just doesn't do it for me. I don't think there's a ton of runs here to be scored. I mean, what would be a play here? FanDuel has this at minus 166 as the best bet available. Do you use one of your boost? There is today an early win on FanDuel if you go up 2 runs. Do I think this one has a ton of 2-run potential? No. But man, I wish I would have saw that because I told you I just bet the Cubs. And when that one's that close, that's where you go with the thing that scares you about LA is they do have that lineup and the Cubs put in a reliever and then LA comes back at the end of the game. I might make another Cubs bet. If anything, the Cubs bet was my early line run game, probably more than others, but we'll look at this. I'm not saying that. I'm not saying you play that, by the way. But let's just go to this game and look at what is the parlay piece. We're talking San Francisco, Texas. Let's look at the alt line. In other words, if we're going to parlay this under 8.5, we predict 51.9% time. I'm going to go to an alt run line, our alt total runs, I mean, and 9.5, it goes up to minus 186. We're going to parlay that. We're going to go up to minus 9.5. And I'm going to now parlay that at plus 126. That's me just saying again, what's the storyline here? It's a shitty ballpark. I don't think either of these teams are great run producers these days. Texas I got to be honest, there has been some Texas games. They've made a bit of a comeback. I absolutely think the Texas to win looks good. So Texas money line under 9.5. We're not going big on this. It's just, again, I hate minus 160 plays. If you're going to screw up a play here, I just hate going with anything that doesn't make sense. Now, this is where the lines get screwed up because I have odds placed right now. So it's going to go to Baltimore because it's the only line within range. I'm sorry. Who was this? It was Texas and Baltimore. What? Texas and where's my brain at right now? Frisco. Jesus Christ. Does it even show up now? Yeah, this happens because I have odds booked and it's kind of throwing it off, right? So yeah, 41.6% chance Frisco wins. I feel comfortable staying. I rather go the other side of this. It's one of our lowest chances to happen games of the slate. Um, I'm not going to go big on this play, but I much rather take plus money. Bottom line is, I want my plus money plays. I don't want to sit here in baseball land just betting binary events that could be easily not happening at minus money. So there's my play there. We're going to move on to the last game, and that is we got Tampa Bay at Colorado. So again, it's a day game, and Colorado is crazy. It is a ballpark in Coors, and it is with pitchers that give up home runs. So Nick Martinez is clearly the better pitcher between the two. And so again, betting Tampa Bay to win this money line to me all day long. But he has given up home runs. And then Sagano has just been kind of getting rocked in general. Loving this addition of Liam Hicks to Tampa Bay. It's a home run in his debut with Tampa Bay. There are runs that are going to be scored this game. 100%, in my opinion, there are home runs going to be hit this game. Right off the bat, elite matchups, not just favorable, elite matchups. Who do we think's going to get hits today? Simpson, +6, 318 against righties. Hits this guy perfectly. Hits hittable pitcher. Now, in 2 at bats, he's not gotten a hit, but I'm not basing anything off two at bats. Yeah. All right. This is not a power batter. He's been batting like 6th in the lineup, 7th. So what do we want to focus on him? Probably like an HRR play is what you're looking at there. Liam Hicks hit a home run last night. +5 favorable matchup. Hits this type of pitcher well. Batted cleanup last night. I did not anticipate that. Yandy Diaz, again, not a power hitter. Will lead off. +5. I mean, holy shnikes, right? Aranda batting second. This is like crazy. This is actually crazy. Jonathan Aranda smoking him. There's not a single Colorado at bat that has popped up as an elite matchup. This is, again, what we consider elite matchups. And now we're to Junior Caminero, right? He's going to be nuked because of the environment. Finally, we get down here and Mickey Moniak, lefty versus righty. I like this. So there's your +5. I would say that I do like Mickey Moniak for a home run and some stats against Nick Martinez. I will warn you, Mickey Moniak, who has hit a home run, I think 2 days in a row, that this could be where they do sometimes pull him when they switch from righty to lefty. So be aware that that's the one risk you take with Mickey Moniak. Junior Caminero coming off the page. Ooh. Mickey Moniak is our only at bat against him that's elite. Mickey Moniak. HRR we show is close to EV. Total bases odds are probably going to have that close to EV. Home run, he's hit 2 games in a row home runs. Love that for him. To score a run, So we're hitting 9 o'clock. I wanted to 9 Central. Folks, I would say bet Mickey Moniak. I would say Jake McCarthy has been unbelievably hot. Unbelievably hot. And I really like this kid. Just a good baseball player. I would say that we are not giving this elite matchup because he doesn't hit the changeup very well. And look at the difference in pitcher, right? We have a better pitcher. But again, wind, if anything, is heading towards, well, no, it's saying right to left. Okay. I had the wind negligible, according to what I saw, that the wind was like more like a 4 to 5 mile per hour wind. But he does hit 296. He has hit Nick Martinez. So, folks, here's what I'm going to say. We're going to wrap this stream up. Tampa Bay. So these first 4 games, man, like there are clearly, in my opinion, this has clearly 4 games worth of offense that tells me that there are matchups. Houston to take it to this tie-in, the Cubs to take it to Lauer, Texas to do some damage against Carson and win that game, Tampa Bay to take it to Tampa Bay to go up. Who is bad? I was going to say Shota. Yeah, I wanted to say Shota again, but it's Tomoyuki Sugano. And then I do think I like the 2 lefty at bats for Colorado that will probably be 1-2 to start that game. I think that there's offense on both sides here. Again, Nick Martinez, clearly the better pitcher, but has given up some power. He has been hit home runs against. They do predict Rumfield, also a lefty who bats good on average. The Rumfield one's interesting. He probably will bat cleanup this game or third. So I like Rumfield also, but he's not your power batter. He's more of your singles. This guy likes to hit a single a game. It's a little more mixed. He does hit right-handers for 311. He does hit his pitch types well. So I absolutely could see if there's some traffic on the bases that TJ Rumfield could also come through for you. Just don't count on him for power. Count on him more for your singles and your RBI maybe is your best bet there. So there we are, folks. It is 9 o'clock. We do need to wrap this stream up. This is the early game slate. I love this 4 games on the early game slate. I absolutely do. I think that, if you want to parlay Houston, Cubs, Texas, Tampa Bay, I think you're looking pretty good there. Any variations you want to make now that I've looked at this Tampa Bay game, going back to team matchups and, just looking at the run line, it kind of, I don't think we showed it earlier, but I kind of lean towards that Tampa Bay run line a little more now. I hate to see if it is minus money. I was kind of hoping that would be plus money. But anyway, there's what we're looking at for this early game slate. Best of luck out there, folks. I got to get moving on, but hopefully take that, make some money with it, and then we'll revisit and look at what this early game slate did here later on, and then discuss the evening slate. I am out.